Dignitas actually following a very similar strategy of shutting down High as well. So
that doesn't work as well.
Hasn't yet.
Yeah, High actually has the lowest KDA on Cloud9. I think he's sitting at like 3.23 or something. But he's had a big impact on the games regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and I'm actually kind of thinking about like the personality as well. I know it used to be back in the day that one of the ways you beat TSM was camp Reginald as the shot caller, get him on edge, get him on tilt, he'll start making bad calls. High, lowest KDA, still good shot calling as the team captain. Clearly that's not working for them. So Cloud9 definitely pretty well rounded here. Dignitas though with time for the first pick. Every top laner, every jungle, every AD carry is open.
We seem to see Elise almost most of these times with their first picks. There's a couple supports available as well. The first pick Thresh should be a little bit surprising. Jinx has been banned a lot recently. And there we go. Cutie Pie going for the hyper carry potential in Jinx.
Yeah.
I like this from him, actually. I remember one of the big issues he had in Season 3 is he would win the lane most of the time, but then not be able to transition because he played a lot of Graves.
Yeah.
And one of the notes that their analyst gave him, actually, was that he should just play more hyper carries because he's so good in the laning phase sometimes. You may as well scale well, and that way you can actually help the team and not rely on Skara so much. I think that's a smart AD carry for I'm a Cutie Pie to pick up.
Well, speaking of scaling well, Shyvana picked up here for Cloud9 in the top lane. Been one of the premier choices there for late game top laners because they just get really big. She does a pretty good amount of damage. Meteos going to be happy to pick up Elise here. So Cloud9 certainly not missing much.
Meteos got his jungler of choice. It's between that and Olaf whenever he decides to pick those things. I think as far as the Shyvana plus Elise, that's almost the best thing they could have if they're going to be going up against a Mundo. And it neutralizes Cruiser as a Mundo threat for the most part. They got the percentage health damage from Elise and the early shoving from the Shyvana. Cloud9 almost always tries to pick champions with stronger pushing or stronger wave clear early, because once they get the turrets pushed in, they can start roaming around the jungle, grouping up, getting towers, and creating map pressure. And no different there with the Shyvana.
And Cloud9 picking up something a little bit more interesting. They're Riven showing up here in the mid lane for High. You remove 3 assassins from the mid lane, you ban 3 of them out. High finds a new one to pick up here. Yeah. The 4th AD mid laner he's going to play right there. Of course, Sneaky going to be paired with a Leona here for the duo lane. Pretty good champion so far.
At this point, Dignitas might want to consider getting a little bit of strong disengage or kiting and poke potential, because at the moment, even though Elise is a ranged champion, it's pretty much all melees right there for Cloud9. It's hard CC and a lot of diving potential, so either Dignitas needs to match that or dissuade Cloud9 from coming in a little bit with some disengage type champions.
Well, we're now looking at still more hardcore engage with the Vi. Gragas, though, would fit that role pretty well, and it's going to be the picks right here. Jungle Vi, mid lane Gragas, Skara. Getting his Gragas, that was one of the main bans we used to see against him.
Yeah, it went away at that point. It's been a while since he played Gragas. It's also been a while since he played Karthus. And yesterday, his Karthus worked very well. Last pick, of course, for Sneaky was the Lucian, so that's kind of a fend for yourself AD carry on Cloud9 set.
With a bunch of melee guys who are going to be diving in. The Soul, always ranged champion on the lineup here against a pretty scary Dignitas roster here. So you talk about Cloud9 wanting to push in.
Yes.
Lucian, Leona, plenty aggressive. Riven, going to be pretty happy to fight Gragas. Shyvana, going to be aggressive. Meteos going to have his pick of the lanes to go through.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 obviously has the pushing edge in the early game, but if last game was any indication, Curse actually had the wave clear edge early on in the game, but things can happen and games can get controlled. So we'll see if Dignitas can pull off a similar early game bit of a miracle there, because they did okay with their champion select, but they have to survive the early game. And Dignitas wins most of their games just by getting ahead and kind of staying ahead. They don't have really crisp strategies for ending games.
That's true.
It's going to be tricky to get ahead on Cloud9.
Well, I think we just need Thresh to steal a blue buff, and we're going to be fine.
Plan of the world.
I believe. Kiwi Kid, you're gonna make it happen here. The champs are locked in, of course, so let's see who you guys at home thought was going to win this next match. And according to LOLesports.com, 90% of you think that Cloud9 is going to end the week undefeated, 4-0, and Dig's going to have a rough start to this one. Probably
pretty strong.
I think I expected that vote.
It's kind of on percentage. You could almost just say Cloud9 has a 90% chance of winning any match. You look at their all-time LCS record. They went 5-0 in the playoffs. They're 30-3. They're 33-3. They're actually higher than 90% win percentage in North America. Right?
Coming into day 2, they had a 90% NA regular season record. Yeah. And then they started winning more, so that went up. Or if you subscribe to the Alex Itch way of describing it, 50% for everything. 50% chance that Gambit wins Worlds. Apparently 90% here, though, for Cloud9 to win this match. We are on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Dignitas in blue, Cloud9 in red. And let's see what these guys go for as the game starts out.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any type of lane swapping and turret pushing shenanigans like we've seen in the last few. Lane-wise, at this point, Sneaky and Lemon actually kind of just want to fight Kiwi Kid, Nama Cutie Pie. If Kiwi Kid plays Thresh well enough, he can actually counter Leona a little bit because he can use his Flay to stop his Zenith Blade initiation. Yeah. And Cloud9's always really hard to predict what lane they're going to be going to. Balls is doing a fantastic job dodging all these stairs.
Nice right there. Speaking of good flays, we've seen actually them used on Shyvana's ulti as well. All right,
There's
no
reason for Cruiser to not throw
One
these.
more. Yeah. Balls is regened all the way back up, by the way.
One more shot.
He's going to get it! Oh! Cruiser knows it. Okay, mind games. Same place. Yep. I think it's still a better average than Hot Shots Needly. It's like, what, 2 for 8?
Cold.
2 for 9?
Hot Shot landed a lot of spears.
Okay, last game. First game. You guys were making fun of him. They still won that game, though. Hit the next one. He's running away. You can see him now. Just throw the freaking cleaver.
They don't want anyone to go in and steal their blue buff.
Yeah, well, they're looping around here. They've got good ward coverage. Looks like Dignitas' blue buff is safe. Cloud9's top lane is safe as well. And here we go. Meteos and Balls going to start things out. Now, Balls, you can't dodge Lizard attacks, so feel free to just hit that thing for a while. But here we go. Buff's going to get grabbed up. Pretty standard things to start out now in these lanes. 2-on-2 bottom, 1-on-1 top.
All right, looking at the mid lane. Riven generally shoves in very quickly, but is a little bit vulnerable to ganks early on. High's going to look to aggress Scar as much as possible and build an early edge in this game. He's going to want to keep Scar back at his turret and stop his ability from roaming. High will also be looking to kill him at level 6, because if he keeps the lane pushed, he will hit level 6 first.
And that's going to be a fun margin. Speaking of High's skills, though, started shield first to dodge barrels, so he's not shoving just yet. Hits level 2, though. That's some good damage. Scar already at half and chugging a potion.
Yeah, Scar doesn't have his dash yet because he's just in full farm mode. He's not expecting to leave the turret at any point soon.
Now, so Media's going to grab his own blue buff, though. Junglers starting out not doing too much special. And with default lanes, you're not going to see him not necessarily run to lanes right away, kill a turret at 3.5 minutes, and then move forward. So it's up to these guys to actually create opportunities for the early kills and the early pressure in these lanes.
Yeah, and this bottom lane is very skill shot dependent. Most of it actually relies on the support's abilities to lock each other up. If Kiwi Kid lands a Thresh Hook, since this is the pre-nerfed Jinx, the arm time on her traps is still long enough that it generally chains and is able to arm is what can stun you before he gets up. He just didn't have them skilled up yet, actually. He's went with 1 point Q and 1 point W when those Thresh Hooks land. Later on, those Thresh Hooks are going to be a lot more deadly.
They're definitely going to be right now. Dignitas on the push right there. Trinket Ward showing that brush what's going on. And actually that prevents Crumbs from getting to sneak in. You had seen him run down the bottom side. Eliminations Trinkets that there could be a Vi in there.
Yeah, the pregame plan by Crumbs was actually expecting Cloud9 to be pushed up a lot more. Historically, Sooks are on point right now. They're going to go in, though. Sneaky coming in.
2-on-2. Flay onto Sneaky, going to keep Cutie Pie safe. Now Elimination forced to run back. Can he get around the choppers? He does. Still loses a couple hundred health, but overall, Cutie Pie, a lot of pain on him.
Yeah, historically, Cloud9 pushes up with this bottom lane and tries to draw aggro from the rest of the team. That's why Crumbs was down there. He was hoping to catch Cloud9 pushed up and get a return kill. Not to be the case in this one.
And Meteos realizes now that this lane has been warded with a trinket. He looked for that kill as well. So far, these junglers, neither of them finding anything but wards in their way, on their way to this lane. We look back in the mid, and High with a very small minion lead here, starting to push Skara away, who is now almost out of mana.
Yeah, and like usual, the biggest minion advantage is the Shyvana versus the Mundo lane, very early on for Balls. He's kind of the unsung hero. We called him out yesterday, trying to keep our eye on him, because he consistently performs for Cloud9. And just in this matchup, Shyvana, the entire goal of Shyvana is to push up as much as possible, get turret damage, win the early game, then start farming between the turrets and going in behind. But this could be a good game.
Ooh, none of the CC lands. PewDiePie is the flash stun. He's going to flash back towards the turret. Barrier already burned as well. It's going to be Dignitas surviving here, but Crumbs shows top lane. Balls burns his flash. Cleaver lands. Oh, that one's going to hit. Cruiser got all the kinks worked out. One more Cleaver does land. Balls, where is your Cleaver dodging skills now? First blood goes to Cruiser.
Balls used all his Cleaver dodges in the early game. He didn't have any left right there. But because Cloud9 got people low in the bottom lane, they're just going to try and do a dragon to equalize the amount of gold they lost by giving up that first blood.
And look at this rotation by High. He runs top lane, seeing that one get shoved. Cloud9 on the ball to make sure they're not missing much. Maximizing their gold output here. Lemon dodging some of that dragon aggro, and here we go. Dragon's actually going to put gold back to equal, paying for that first blood.
Yeah, this is what actually Cloud9 does better than anyone in North America. When something goes wrong, they almost always find a way to make it not a bad thing. Even though Balls was down, it was a very long-winded gank by Crumbs. There was no way they could support the bottom, and even though Meteos' gank didn't technically go well because they didn't get a kill, they got more gold than a kill would be worth by taking the dragon. They also didn't lose many minions since High had Scars so pushed in the mid lane. He could go defend the top lane. Everyone just kind of rotated up and filled the empty spots.
Yeah, Meteos took High's farm in the mid. That was a really nice play right here, and Cloud9 without a kill on the board does have more gold. The other thing I want to point out is I've been actually kind of trying to track this. We've seen different skill orders. Balls is maxing his Flame Breath first, using it as a big poke tool against Cruiser. I've seen both Burnout and the Flame Breath, and Balls chooses the E in this game.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. The Flame Breath, quite strong here for Balls now that he's level 6. This is the point where he would want to try to shove a little bit farther and maybe start being able to take some jungle, but because he already died to that one gank, he's going to have to play a little bit more conservative.
And Cruiser's a really tanky man right now. Giant's Belt on the inventory, ulti available, and the flash. Balls at least can escape with his own ultimate, though. We'll see if that ends up being a big problem. Level 5 on Crumbs will hit 6 as this blue buff dies if he soaks up XP, giving that over to Skara. All right, so Skara's unlocked a lot of potential now in this lane. He's got an arm guard, he's got a blue buff. Should be pretty happy.
Yeah, the arm guard and the Doran's ring make it a little bit harder for High to do much spike damage on him. Also got that 1 level advantage. It's going to be a bit difficult, though, for Skara to hit the items that most Gragas's do to spike things down. We saw, I think it was a Gragas vs Yasuo game, where Gragas had to itemize the Zani's Hourglass, which is what Skara's going towards here, and the barrels just did not have the same impact that they do when you see the normal Death Cap and Athene's Unholy Grail build on Gragas.
So we'll see if Skara can continue to get some more damage then to keep his team's hopes afloat. Meteos looks like he's going to be, I don't want to say taxing his own jungle, but certainly gets his own blue buff here. High doesn't really need it, but half HP. Skara going in high, dangerously low, jumps with the shield, flash body slam by Skara, picks up the solo kill 1v1.
Skara's got his confidence back right there. He is back on his favorite champion in Gragas, and with the arm guard, just absolutely obliterates High. I'm not sure how High got caught so far out of position there. Great barrel by Skara, and then flashing to secure as well with that body slam was a lot of confident plays by Skara. You do not flash body slam unless you are completely sure that it's worth it.
And it certainly was a 1-for-0. I'd type that in all chat all day. No worries on this one. 2-0 now for Dignitas. We said, you know, early kills are the one thing that they need and they tend to be good at. They've got to get that happening. So far, so good for these guys. But what else can they turn this one into? Cloud9 likely able to work with a deficit. We'll see what they can do with this.
Yeah, they're still, gold-wise, pretty close in the game.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the first real objective contention happen yet. You can see Crumbs is still searching for something to happen in the bottom lane, but I gotta just comment on that lane to note that I'mACutiePie and KiwiKid are winning it quite well. First picking Jinx. I'mACutiePie is generally very strong in lane, but now he should be able to transition this one a little bit better because Jinx is such of a hyper carry.
Oh, good stuff here. Let's see if they can keep it up right there. Balls still pushing in Cruiser, but not getting any turret damage. So, of course, the gank helps quite a bit, but Balls not really making much headway over here. Dignitas holding on to this sort of push lane, and in fact, We said that Cloud9 likes to push in. In fact, it's going to be the jump in on QtPie. Gets the Lantern. The bot comes up. Cocoon misses. Meteos not going to find much else to do here. Dig gets away successfully.
Even though he had his flash down, they were able to get out of that one because Kiwi Kid was positioned in the proper place. So no real punishment coming down onto QtPie. We'll have to track how well he is able to stay alive in future games. Almost no AD carries do well against Dig.
Pulls in Sneaky, but Sneaky's going to dash away. Kiwi Kid down to half health. What else can happen here? The jump in from Crumbs. Lemon Nation down to half health. No spells left on him. Sneaky dropping very low, but Dig running out of health bars here. This is a close one. Sneaky still got all his summoners. Meteos goes in, nearly kills QtPie. Crumbs comes back. Here comes Skara. Finds Lemon Nation. Can they get the damage? Meteos jumping away. No summoners left basically anywhere. And High says hello, but he's not going to get, and maybe?
It's almost a miracle that nobody died in that fight. Skara came in with a bunch of low health targets and wasn't able to finish anybody off. So that is actually a failed roam by Skara, I'd have to say. Definitely should have converted some of those kills, but just a tad off with some of his skill shots right there. Big missed opportunity there by Dignitas.
Yeah, he focused Sneaky, who had to burn both summoners to get out, but you're right. He attacks a couple summoners, no kills whatsoever. Dig now only sitting on basically 0 gold now. Actually, Cloud9 closed that gold gap and actually stretched it in their own favor now. You're seeing mid lane just getting completely pushed in, and no one's even there to take that gold.
Something we have to track as well as we move into the team fight phase is how well QtPie can get healed for by Kiwi Kid. Jinx is very popular in North America and Europe, but especially in the Korean scene, they haven't necessarily transitioned over to her yet because they value escapability and safety in AD carries very well. It's a volatile role if they get spiked out early on in the fight. Cloud9 has a lot of gap closing potential. Lemon Nation, High, Meteos, and Balls can all get right on top of QtPie. So potentially, no matter how farmed QtPie gets, he'll still die unless they can peel away from him. But this is a dragon fight potentially happening, very quickly taken.
The dragon itself is not going to put up much of a fight here, but Cloud9 might get jumped on by Dig. Nope, Dig's going to walk back from this one. So Cloud9 2-0 on Dragons, and that means they're about 800 gold here. 600 gold, 500, whatever. Math is hard, but either way, Cloud9's making this game look pretty good for them.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on Dragons so far by Cloud9. Only 12 minutes in. Very good objective control by them so far. No kills, but the big old gold lead is kind of the way they sneak around in games. You think you have them down a little bit, and they'll find a sneaky way of getting back into it.
And there we go, the jump in. Look at the damage I've put onto High. He does not have his flash, which means he's going to be going down. Kiwi Kid steals the kill.
That was not.
He's smiling, though.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do
his
it.
head.
Well, too bad. You took it.
I forget which support said they wanted to steal a pentakill.
That was definitely Curse's support.
Okay, so ZKit definitely wanted to. I think one other might have said so. But at the same time, that wasn't a pentakill. That was just being a jerk.
No, that was actually really unfortunate for them, too, because Skara, like I said, is the key to their success. And that could very have easily been a second kill for him. Yeah. He also needs to get an exceptional amount of gold if he wants his barrels late game to have the big impact, since he has had to start with that Seeker's Arm Guard instead of the typical Athene's Unholy Grail to Death Cap build. A good gank by Dignitas, a not-so-good kill secure by Kiwi Kid.
No. He even stole the cannon minion last game from Cruiser. Like, he's taxing his entire team throughout this tournament.
Still adjusting.
Yeah, although they did win that game where he stole that cannon, so maybe if Kiwi Kid steals more gold, they'll win more. It's a completely bogus stat that I'm going to track. Kiwi Kid's kill steals versus win record. Here we go. Dignitas pushing the bottom lane. And QtPie, Kiwi Kid, they've got like the minions there to the turret. They're just so afraid of Leona engage. Meteos is waiting right on the wings there. And you're seeing just the pushes aren't successful because there's so much respect for the junglers.
Dignitas would want to transition something fairly strong here. A bit of an unfortunate thing. You notice Crumbs has a fairly fresh blue buff and Scar does not. There was a bit of an accident over at the blue buff and Scar wasn't able to secure that. That actually diminishes his roaming potential right here. And this is exactly the point in the game where Scar would want to roam around and make big plays happen. We have to see a couple blue buff incidents have been fairly impactful today.
Yep.
This one is much more recoverable than the enemy support ceiling in level 1.
Yeah, so thankfully that's not as bad this time around. High still making his way around. Doesn't, of course, need blue buff, so Meteos has no one to really fight but himself for those. He's done 100% on getting blue buff secured. So
a lot of people on Dignitas down here to try to get a kill.
Hardcore dive on a Sneaky, but he's got no one else around to help him. There's Skara. He does get that kill, and Kiwi Kid taking turret aggro. Elimination very alone right now. Zap secures the kill, and Dignitas 5-0 in kills against Cloud9.
A very clean turret dive by there, and a lack of vision control by Cloud9 allowed Sneaky and Elimination to just get snuck up upon right there. Skara did not even have to use his Gragas ultimate amongst all of that diving, but still, this is the thing we really got to keep track of. Sure, you're up 5 kills to 0, maybe 6 soon, but the gold is in Cloud9's favor.
Good flash by High. That would have been probably death unless Meteos did something miraculous there on the way over. PewDiePie still on the push, though. Dignitas, I just had to double take, though. They're actually still down in gold despite all these kills.
It's 2 dragons and 1 extra turret for Cloud9. Plus, the farming, especially in the top lane, like we talk about, Balls is doing a great job. Him and Meteos were off taking the top lane turret while that 4-man dive was happening in the bottom lane for Cloud9. You can already see 400 gold ahead for Balls. It's even in the jungle. Even High, despite dying twice, is right on pace with Skara. As well as Dignitas feels right now, the gold is telling a slightly different story.
And remember that this top lane matchup was one where Cruiser got first blood against Balls due to that Crumbs gank. And despite all that effort in the gank happening successfully, still a losing matchup. The bottom lane turret now goes down as well. Cloud9 has managed to secure themselves all 3 outer turrets without even killing an enemy champion. They're just showing up to the lanes at the right times.
Oh, look out here in the bottom lane. There comes
Kiwi Kid about to get squashed right there. Goodbye to you, Cloud9 getting on the scoreboard here. And it's not really in time for any objectives, but hey, gold is gold.
And even without getting kills for Cloud9, they were still able to invade Dignitas' territory. The relentless pushing took down the outer turrets that were needed, and they get their first payoff kill right after that one. Another thing that is actually contributing to the gold was the early support itemization. Lemon Nation got his Targon's Brace very early on. It's already generated 450 gold for the team, whereas the Nomad's Medallion, Kiwi Kid just picked up, and it's only given him 34 gold. So that's actually a very substantial thing. They've been kind of losing the lane, but that's a kill's worth of gold that the item itself has given Cloud9.
Yeah, it's even managed to let Sneaky sort of match minion kills at this point when you consider that Targon's Brace CS really belongs to the AD carry at the end of the day. So these guys holding up pretty nicely now, all things considered. The lane's actually starting to now go all Cloud9's way. Not at the beginning, but now at this point they are. Here comes the dive in. High again. Knocked back. Does he have anywhere to go? No flash thanks to the mid lane turret kill. And Skara getting another one. 3-0 and 2, and the mid lane's left open.
High is getting absolutely picked on right here, and it's all 5 grouping for Dignitas. Let's see if Cloud9 has anything to say about this one. I think Dig is going to want to continue a push like this and get some of the map control back.
Gotta try this one. Dragon is available, and Dignitas turns around and looks for this one right here. They kill a pink ward on the way. This is almost certainly their Dragon, but they are in vision. You never know. Cloud9's crazy sometimes. Yeah,
Dignitas was so untouched in that last fight. You'd think this would be uncontested, but how crazy is Cloud9? Leonald comes in. Is there a fall?
Decent damage coming across, but no actual commit. Just some poke. Nothing really found there. Cloud9 going to go back to the mid lane, but there's not much for them there. I don't think they can get to the second turret in time. Blue buff, though. That is up.
Yeah, let's see where the gold really is lying right here, because it's a 302 Skara Gragas, and he's still only 700 gold ahead of High. He is, however, the highest performer on Dignitas, which is how Dignitas generally distributes their gold when they're winning. Was that a Jinx ult?
I think he was checking Baron.
He was. He was checking Baron. He was wondering if Cloud9 was trying. At this point, what Dig would probably call a Desperation Baron. I'm not sure. But it's definitely not that way. Cloud9 is very calm and controlled in this game, despite being down 6 kills to 1.
Yeah.
Straight up even in the gold.
Certainly would have been a sneaky Baron here, but Cloud9 not going to make much of that happen. High now actually, the split push game has begun. I know in their Zed game, they said, okay, yeah, High got really big. He was our big performer. We sent him to go split push. He was going to create pressure. 0-3 Riven, and they still feel comfortable enough saying, yeah, go split push a bottom lane, create pressure, and we'll kind of move around that.
Dying does not really take away from confidence of anyone on this team. I remember a few moments last season where Balls actually started the game 0-5 in the top lane, a couple of those on Rumble, and then he was still very impactful in the rest of the game. So they definitely know how to kind of give the carrying responsibilities to someone else when they're behind, and they still have a good way of kind of passing the torch and fighting well in team fights.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a Cloud9 game where any individual of their players have hard carried the game. I've seen Meteos getting like 11 kills on Evelynn. I've seen Sneaky, of course, take over games. His Caitlyn's been pretty strong overall. Balls and High, of course, we've seen those guys carry plenty of times. I like the fact that that's so well distributed from C9. Dignitas, I feel like there's only been, you just talked about Scar basically. That's like the one guy we know consistently can make it happen.
Well, one thing about Scar as well is he just finished his Rabadon's death cap because he has no actual threat coming at him from high. So he got the Seeker's Arm Guard to beat him up in the lane, but then did not feel obligated to finish the Zhonya's.
Yeah.
His barrels will be chunking right now. 325 AP you can see on him right about now.
And 120 armor, to be fair, as well. And there's been no armor pen from High. In fact, he took a detour for some MR itemization here. High's Riven, much lower damage threat than what we would normally see, I think, from a Riven 20 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a very testing game right now for Cloud9. Dignitas clearly carrying a lot of momentum over from their previous game, and Cloud9 trying to force an initiation.
They're going for the attempt right here, but here comes Dignitas to try to answer one back, but they are outnumbered. High goes down, though. Now what else can happen? Box is on. Kiwi Kid low, ignited. He will drop. Meteos will fall to Crumbs, 2 for 2 in this battle, and
careful.
Here comes Skara. Can he help Cutie Pie? Damage out on Sneaky, and Cutie Pie survives. Lemon Nation is gonna die alone and sad. Double kill. I'm a Cutie Pie.
4 for 2. Scar roams down once again and picks up kills, and this was a very close fight. You can see a lot of Cloud9 flashing forward to try and get on I'm a Cutie Pie, but this was the question. How well can Dignitas peel for I'm a Cutie Pie? It looks like actually quite well. The Box and Crumbs did a lot of zoning, and then I'm a Cutie Pie kind of stood his ground here. There was a very critical dash backwards by Sneaky there that kind of cost him his life. It allowed Scar to get into range a little bit sooner, blow him up, and not finish off I'm a Cutie Pie quite in time. There are a few different things in that fight, and it goes completely the other direction.
So very good job here by Dignitas. Crumbs said it was on me. I had some bad play calling and gave us a loss we shouldn't have had earlier in this week, and it looks like right now Dignitas, he said that I was forcing too many things. I was trying too hard to make plays happen. Seems like he's trying exactly the right amount here. Dignitas, huge playmaking and kills.
And it's interesting, too, because Cloud9 is the one who forced that fight extremely hard. That was a brute force engage if I'd ever seen one. Almost all of their people used flashes forward, and it ended up costing them 4 deaths. Cloud9's not the type of team to run away from a fight, but that one was still a little bit too forced.
A little bit too much for these guys. Crumbs definitely in the right place, and Scar making his way over at the right time. High alone for now defending the top lane. The rest of his team regrouping. Everyone on the top left corner of the map, actually. As a big minion wave pushes down towards Dignitas in the bottom. We'll see if they answer that right now. Trinkets getting switched around. 2 red trinkets on both sides. So both these teams now starting to consider vision control very important.
And Dignitas is going to try and close this one out because they are showing that they can consistently win team fights. But the problem that happens when a team is winning so many team fights but still not up in gold means their bounties are increasing again and again. It would only actually take one team fight win by Cloud9 to slingshot this game in the other direction and make it a somewhat insurmountable lead by Cloud9. So Dignitas has to play very cautiously, as crazy as it sounds, despite being up 10 kills to 3.
It's true, and the other interesting thing that I feel like a lot of people don't think about with this as well is while the bounties increase, Cloud9s aren't actually really going down because as you get gold from minion kills, it kind of pulls back your death bounties.
A little bit. For every 1,000 gold gained from minion kills, it's the equivalent of getting 1 assist. So it's actually not the most giant thing, but it just means that like an 0-4 high is still worth gold because he's farming himself.
Exactly. So it's still going to be a valuable guy to kill. And part of the reason Skara is rolling in the monies right now, aside from just the fact that he's Gragas Esquire, the suit doesn't actually give him any bonus gold here. Cloud9 now are going for a Baron attempt.
Right on top of a pink ward, too. This is, if anything, just trying to draw Dignitas away from their mid lane. That was a little weird that they were so willing to just hit the Baron instead of just kill the pink ward. but they do walk away unscathed, and it was mainly just to reposition Dignitas.
And one thing that I see actually is the bottom lane is gigantic right now for Cloud9, just now crashing into Dig's turret, and Dig is sacrificing that gold.
Might force another initiation. If that would have landed, it would have been big. He still might decide to throw off his ultimate because Cloud9 wants to just land something at the start.
Cocoon doesn't quite land, though. You saw Meteos look for a little bit of something there, but doesn't find it. And Dignitas actually sacrificed the bottom lane farm, but they do pick up the dragon here. So Dig in a pretty happy place for this one. Blue team picks up the dragon. Dig the first one on the scoreboard here. No, second maybe.
Yeah, huge amounts of gold from the dragon there because it's reaching the average level in the game of 15, which is his maximum amount of gold right there. So the lead finally starting to show off a little bit for Dignitas here.
Dig in control, and they're not making any silly mistakes in their rotations, in their movements, not giving up any kills, not getting jumped on too much. A controlled game here for Dignitas. And they said, you know, the sky's the limit here. And what better way to test the sky's limit than against Cloud9, because they're putting up a great performance. And they're doing the rotations well. Again, they're getting back to the lanes. They're under control, but it's still on them to push this lead forward.
Yeah. Void Staff, of course, being completed by Skara. He's really going to be bringing the big damage here. And especially if he can land any type of damage onto Sneaky, who has went for that Trinity Force Bloodthirster build, but because he hasn't been able to generate kills or a bunch of assists like he usually would from an AD carry position, he has become very squishy. This has been quite an impressive performance by Skara when all things are considered.
Absolutely. He's done a very good job here. Going to get even more farm. 223 on him. About to make that 230. Looking at the other players, and Elimination, one of the more selfish support players I've seen, upgraded to Mercury Treads, interested in his own tankiness. The only really team item he's got is that Sightstone, and otherwise he's all about kind of himself. Giant's Belt now picked up as well. Elimination just wants to be a tank.
Well, Leona does scale excessively well off of health, only because she gets so much armor and MR from her W shield, her Eclipse. It's not the worst itemization path. He's also shared about 700 or 800 gold with his Targon's Brace thus far. And it's another thing that's keeping Cloud9 kind of alive in this game, even if they really have no business being alive in this game.
Yeah, but of course Dignitas now with Talisman of Ascension. QB Kid is there and ready to help the team out. Elimination nearby. Both top laners chilling off on the right-hand side of the map. A 4v4 here in mid, but Cruiser has teleport. Crumbs comes in. Elimination's going to dive in. The fight's going to begin. Look at the burst onto Cutie Pie, but he's still going to survive. High comes up, but Cutie Pie tanks, runs back successfully. Good flash by Lemon and no kills picked up. Both top laners have shown back up. Meteos getting jumped on, nowhere to go. Flay by Kiwi Kid, and Balls trying to take Cutie Pie, but won't do it. Ignite not going to take hard enough. High pushed away as well. Dig with a 2-0 fight.
You can see one after another, Cloud9 is trying to kill I'm a Cutie Pie, but they just can't seem to get there. And now it's a Baron just take by Dignitas as Cloud9 pushes mid.
They're just going to dive mid to get what they can because there's no way they can test Baron. Dignitas looking happy. Skara, the early recall. There we go, smited away by Crumbs. Baron #1, Dragon 2, of course, for these guys. Cloud9 don't even get the second tier mid turret, so nothing for Cloud9 here.
This is looking now like this could be the first loss of the season for Cloud9. What a momentum builder it would be for Dignitas. Let's take a look at this fight. So Lemon Nation actually sees a good opportunity here to go in on I'm a Cutie Pie while the Flay is down. And they try and dump as much damage on them as possible. They even Vi-ulted, but then what High thought he could execute I'm a Cutie Pie, and when I'm a Cutie Pie flashed out of it, there was no coming back for Cloud9. Since Dignitas was ahead, they could chase on afterwards. High never became a part of that fight, and Balls also wasn't there at the beginning. So if they can't get the initial catch on I'm a Cutie Pie, it is almost a failed fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, it seems to be the case there. And, you know, you talked about saying, hey, you know, Dignitas, why don't you put Cutie Pie on a late game carry? Why don't you put him on something that'll carry the games for us so that Skara has some backup here? And that has happened. 4-0-3 on this Jinx. Kiwi Kid as well, the Tango partner here. He's, from what I've seen, made some really good individual plays.
Yeah, what's more important, actually, than I'm a Cutie Pie getting kills and dealing damage is his threat level that he is presenting. The attention that he is drawing to himself during a team fight. What is allowing Skara to do so well in these fights is everyone is actually diving on top of I'm a Cutie Pie. And now there's 2 people down bottom for Cloud9 and 5 in mid for Dignitas, so they're going to be looking to push this really quickly, and Cloud9 is nowhere to be found.
Well, that turret's just going to go down completely. High still on the split push bottom, but this turret is just worth more right here for Dignitas. Inhibitor under fire as well. Cloud9 not going to even bother defending. They know this is going to be given away, and they're trying to answer now an inhibitor turret of their own. Scar is back to defend, but it's a 1v2.
He might be able to take out one if he lands a few skill shots. This is actually not the worst thing for Cloud9. Knowing that they're so far behind and the Scar is so farmed, they may have gotten that inhibitor regardless of Cloud9's defense or not. And let's see if Cloud9 can bail out. I think High is a dead man.
Oh, did he? Yeah, okay, he's going to get found, and this is going to be a lot of damage coming across. I don't know if High can get out. He doesn't have flash. He does have his ulti pop, so he's going to go farther with the E's and Q's. Maybe. No one's in front of him.
They might get the angle on him.
We'll
you can
see.
see a long-distance run right here. Can Crumbs catch High? Can he get in alt range?
There we go, the Vault Breaker. He's going to definitely be in range.
He's in range. He's waiting for the turret to aggro.
There we go, knocked into the air. High goes down. Crumbs picks that one up. Well played here, Dignitas. Of course, still Cloud9 does get some turrets out of this.
And Crumbs is trying to take on the war, or Cruiser rather, trying to show off how tanky he is right now. Taking on 3.
1 versus 3. Fight goes back in, dive in from Lemonation, but there's the rocket, and Lemonation goes down. The flash from Cruiser. Can he get more? Sneaky. Meteos on the run. What's he choose? Meteos dodges 1. Taking a page from Balls, but can he get away again? One more. Oh! No kill steal from Kiwi Kid, but at least he goes down. I'm a cutie pie, now 5-0-4.
Max range hook coming in from Kiwi Kid. It's now 15 kills to 3, and it's now looking like the type of game that would be 15 kills to 3 because Dignitas is just destroying Cloud9 all around the map. There's a long death time on Meteos, and they're going to try and get their second inhibitor if they could get minions at that turret, which they are not yet.
Not yet. They got about 25 seconds to go or so. Crumbs instead will split push to the top. The rest of Dig regroup to mid. But this is them looking to close this. 8 seconds till Meteos comes back. Top lane turret available. High set to split push bottom. Dig not interested in that lane at all.
Yeah, and right now Cloud9 is just lacking heavily on damage, unfortunately. High got beaten up so badly in that mid lane that he's yet to pick up a last whisper. 31 minutes in. Meteos wasn't even able to get Haunting Guys on Elise, which he normally likes to get a lot of magic penetration. He's had to go full defensive because they've just fallen behind and they're really trying to stay alive here. A lot of turret damage coming down. Cloud9 doing their best to push.
There we go. Oh. Turret does fall. What's going to happen here? Lemonation in the middle of the enemy fight. Ball's there as well, but the damage looks so high from Dignitas. Engage still going on. High does almost take down Crumbs, but the Vi lives, so High goes down. Will there be more fighting going on? Jinx Rocket. Oh, wide left there. No points picked up for Cutie Pie, but regardless, it does give the 2 inhibitors on a 1-for-0.
Dignitas is just brute forcing their way into Cloud9's base. That last fight was easy for Dignitas. It was pretty much just one Scar ultimate, and then nobody on Cloud9 could end up fighting. Even if Crumbs would have fallen, I think it would have been a clean fight. Just watch for the Scar ultimate. Obviously, the Leona ult missed, but check out Sneaky. 1 hit, and he's below half health. At that point, the re-engage is just foolish. The box actually procced almost all 5 of its walls, which was just perfectly placed by Kiwi Kid. And then since Cloud9 was in full retreat mode, the inhibitor was an easy snack afterwards.
And a just barely missed rocket, of course, that we saw there. And I gotta sort of think about all of this. Dignitas's ban phase. Ban 3 champions away from High, put him on Riven, picked the Gragas in, I believe, as a counter afterwards. And Skara had a wonderful time at that lane, having either Kiwi Kid or Crumbs or someone show up and combo kills over and over.
Oh, absolutely. It was a comfort champion, you could say, for Skara. Like, it's just, even though he did get the counter pick, it's really, it's about confidence. Look at the smiles that are back on Dignitas' faces. Everybody's talking. Kiwi Kid's always smiling, whether they're winning or losing. But
it's a bigger smile when he's winning.
It's a rather bigger smile. I'll see a Frozen Mallet being completed by Cutie Pie too. Just help them chase on after these fights. Cloud9's trying to do that bottom lane push thing since there's technically an exposed inhibitor, but Dignitas isn't going to let that happen. This is the Crumbs in the driver's seat, keeping Dignitas really on point. This time, they've had actual strategy in the way they've shut down Cloud9. Once they got a little bit of an edge, they've continued to force teamfights throughout, and they're not letting Cloud9 dictate. They are dictating to Cloud9.
Exactly, and a well-played inhibitor take. No threat at all to Dignitas. Cloud9 forced to recall back that bottom lane split push to make sure that was okay. Baron up in 20 seconds. Now, I don't know if Dig needs to take it until they've got their minion waves in control, but that seems kind of the case anyway. 15 seconds, Dig waiting in a brush.
They're hoping that Cloud9 comes to check, but Cloud9 generally just tries to get turrets instead of going for Baron anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to see that it's respawned, and I mean, I think Dignitas can just take this before Cloud9 is even in range.
Yeah, Cloud9 definitely rushing down to the bottom lane. They're going to backdoor the inhibitor, actually. This Baron likely to fall down to half HP. No one's around to steal it, no globals. Dig gets a Baron. Cloud9 rushing still for this bottom inhibitor, though. The recalls here from Dignitas. Ulti popped by High. Sneaky burning everything he can. Teleport comes in from Cruiser, but he's not going to be in range in time.
Yeah, what this means, actually, is that Dignitas is just going to push the lane where their inhibitor is dead and go for the third one. It's convenient that that's the last one they have to take down. In the 2014 season, having an inhibitor down in one lane does not increase the strength of minions in the other, so this should be no big deal that Dignitas lost an inhibitor.
And the recall is going to come back successfully from Cloud9, and there it is. Dig all down to the bottom side. Kiwi by himself in mid. I feel like you should change that. Not all that useful with Talisman Ascension by himself. He's going to make his way across the map. Cloud9, I got to point out, still doing an admirable job of getting ward control on the map. Despite losing, you're seeing Dig walk by a few wards as they go across. But this is clearly Dignitas' game, a very well-played match. And we'll see if they can do what it takes to close out, or if they let Cloud9 in somehow.
What a crazy start to day 3. We had CLG go 4 kills to 0 in 25 minutes. Mainly just CLG in 25 minutes is a surprising sentence to say. And then this one is Dignitas pretty much beating up on Cloud9. Cloud9 doesn't want to let this C happen for long because they know their time is limited. There's 2 waves of super minions, so I'd expect a fight maybe on this next wave if Cloud9, it's just a last-ditch effort.
Cloud9 might need to try right now. They're going to give up this inhibitor, though, and recall back to their Nexus here. 3 inhibs down now. They have tripled the number of super minions that spawn every single 30 seconds. Dignitas now living in the Cloud9 base. They need this one first, and then they will make their way in. But this is surely going to be a likely push for Dig. A likely game close. 16-3, here they go.
Big damage already by Sneaky. This is as close to indefensible as it comes. Maybe Dignitas will just crush him in a fight, or maybe Cloud9 is just going to lose without being able to put up a fight.
A lot of burst on a Sneaky. He's been forced back to heal. Lemon Nation also dangerously low. Pops the ulti. They get some slows onto Skara. The push on in. Can they get the damage they need? High getting locked up in the front lines. Cutie Pie untouched here, taking down Lemon Nation with a rocket. Double kill for him. Meteos now also getting chased. That's going to be another kill picked up now for Dr. Mundo. Only Sneaky is going to be alive alongside Balls. No other kills picked up yet, but Dignitas 19-3, ending the week 2-2 and breaking Cloud9's undefeated record. Look at the smile on Crumb's face.
They have to be happy about that one. The first team to take down Cloud9. Kiwi Kid just so excited. And what a crazy start to the third day of Super Week. Both remaining undefeated teams have already fallen. There are no longer undefeated teams in the North American LCS. After the first few games from Dignitas, it felt like all hope was lost, but they came back with some powerful play here. And that is the worst I have seen Cloud9 lose.
That's absolutely right. Even thinking back to Spring, where CLG took like 3 kills at like level 1 in the jungle, and that was Cloud9's first loss in the summer split, I should say. C9 still put up a really good fight that game. Still this one close for a while. Dignitas though in control.